Hi, I'm Gabby with Cooking with the Cullinans, and today we are going to make Napa Cabbage Salad. It is just such a great salad for so many different things. I really love it in the summertime, but my family loves it at Thanksgiving dinner. So it's just a really great salad. What I love about it is I love the crunch that we're gonna get from this ramen mixture. That it's ramen, it's slithered almonds and sesame seeds that are toasted in some butter. Who doesn't love butter? It's a little green onions, which you'll notice at the end, I forget to put them on the top. It's really kind of a garnish. And then of course our feature, the Napa cabbage itself, and this really great dressing that goes on the top. All right, I hope you enjoy it. So today when we make the Napa cabbage salad, these are the items that you're gonna need. So a Napa cabbage, and a medium-sized one is good. You don't need a really large one. A package of ramen noodles. It doesn't matter the flavor because we're not gonna use the flavoring. You're gonna need some almonds that are slivered almonds, some butter, green onions or scallions, some apple cider vinegar, some soy sauce, sesame seeds, some white sugar, and you're also gonna need, you can see it, some vegetable oil. Perfect. So these are the items that you're gonna need, and our next step is that we're gonna cut up and clean the cabbage. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut up about 4 scallions, and I cut the white and the green part. And this time I used 4 because they were pretty small. So just kind of, use your eye. This is about a half of a cup of green scallions. And then when we get to the Napa cabbage, so you're gonna wanna cut the end off of the cabbage. You're gonna then separate each leaf like this. You're gonna rinse these, so I usually use a strainer and I'm running water on all of them because the Napa cabbage is grown in a place with a lot of sand. So you wanna be sure that you got all of the sand and all of the dirt off of it. So the next step is that I'm gonna separate all of these and I'm gonna wash them all. Once I have them all washed, then I'm gonna stack them all on top of each other, and I'm gonna cut them in pieces just like this. Okay, so this is all of the Napa cabbage all kind of taken apart. So I'm just showing you that I used a really big strainer to actually rinse these all, and now all of the water is dripping out. So now the next step is I'm gonna stack them all up and I'm gonna cut them all up. Okay, so you can see now that I have all of the Napa cabbage pretty much cut up into these little pieces. So when I'm actually cutting it, I'm cutting them like this into about 1/2-inch slices. And you're probably wondering why there's this V-shaped cut in this piece. So I cut it this way, so that as you're cutting these slices, you're not getting as big of a piece of the hard part of the cabbage. Okay, so I take those bigger leaves, that's why I stack them on top of each other, and I cut up to the part of where the hard part kind of goes into the leaf, if you can see. All right, so once I've done this and cut them all up, although this has been rinsed once, I'm gonna go ahead and rinse it for a second time. And the reason is that as we've cut it up, if there was any sand in this or dirt, it may have kind of broken it loose, and we wanna be sure that we get all of the sand and dirt out, because you don't wanna be eating the Napa cabbage salad and bite into a big thing of sand or dirt. Right, and you wanna be sure that you use a good sharp knife when you're actually cutting this up, because that way you'll get a really nice crisp and clean cut. Okay, so you can see that the cabbage is now down there, kind of gonna rest for a minute and make sure all the water is drained off of it. Meanwhile, we're gonna get started in kind of the crunchy topping. So this is the ramen, and I'm basically just gonna crunch it up while it's still in the package. I'm just gonna kind of go like this and crunch it up. Then I'm gonna open the packet and I'm gonna obviously leave out the spice packet. So this is what you're gonna have when you're done doing that, and you can see kind of how small the pieces of the ramen are. The next step is that we're gonna go ahead and saute this in the fry pan. Okay, so now in my fry pan, I have 2 tablespoons of butter, which is mostly melted up. I'm gonna then put in 3 tablespoons of sesame seeds, a half a cup of slithered almonds, which of course you can omit these if you have somebody that has a nut allergy. And then I'm gonna put in the package of ramen. Now my husband really loves the crunchy, so in here is actually 2 packages of ramen. If you choose to do that, you may want to have to add a little bit more butter. So I am using a nonstick pan, so I'm going to be sure that I'm using a utensil that is not metal in the nonstick pan. And the temperature, by the way, that I have this at is like medium. I started out at medium high, I've turned it down to about medium, and we're gonna keep moving this around in here just until it's toasted. So in a moment, I'll come back and show you what it looks like when it's all toasted. Okay, so this is the mixture of the ramen noodles, the sesame seeds, and the almond slivers all toasted up. So with the butter, and so I did end up using 4 tablespoons of butter in the mixture. So you can see how they're toasted. It's so important that when you're doing this, and it should be about on medium heat or a little more medium low, is that you're constantly moving around in the fry pan the ingredients, because although you want the almonds and the sesame seeds to be good and toasted, because that's where you get that like nice toasty flavor and you get the great color, you don't want them to actually be burnt. And once you've had this going for a little while, you'll kind of notice that not only did the butter get kind of soaked up into the noodles, but you'll notice that the almonds themselves and the sesame seeds, the oil that's in them kind of starts to come out, and it's very fragrant. It smells so good in my kitchen right now. Okay, so now that we have the Napa cabbage itself all cut up, all of the green onions cut up, we have toasted the ramen, the sesame seeds, and the slivered almonds. We are going to go ahead and start on the dressing for it. I love the dressing. All right, so we're going to use a half of a cup of sugar. And by the way, I usually use a ball or mason jar to shake this up because we're going to do a lot of shaking. And that way it's a container that I know the lid's not going to come off of. If you don't have one, but you have another container that has a good lid on it, you can certainly use that. All right, so I'm gonna put this half of a cup of sugar in here. I have a half of a cup of vegetable oil. You could use a light-bodied olive oil if you prefer that over the vegetable oil. We are gonna put 2 tablespoons of low sodium soy sauce, and you could use the full sodium if you want to, or that's what you have on hand. And then I have a 1/4 of a cup of the apple cider vinegar. And so now that I have all the ingredients in here, I'm gonna put the lid on the jar and I'm gonna shake it up. And I'm gonna shake this until the sugar is really well dissolved and all of the ingredients are combined. Now it is normal for it to kind of separate again, but the point is that we really want to get the sugar dissolved. So I'm going to shake this and shake it, and the next step is we're going to put this all together. Okay, so here is where we are going to put this all together. So if you're going to serve it immediately to a big group, you can just put it all together in a really big bowl and mix it all up all at once. But right now I'm just going to make 1 serving, so you can kind of see how you could also do it that way. Is I'm going to take some of the Napa cabbage and I'm going to put it in this little bowl. Now I'm going to put some of the mixture of the ramen, the slithered almonds, and the sesame seeds, and this is the part that has the really great crunch. I'm actually going to make this bowl for my husband because he helped out a lot in this video today. He cut up all of the cabbage. He cut up the green onions. Honestly, he did most of it. I just did the talking part. So we're going to make him a nice bowl of it. And then the dressing, as we were making that, I was thinking how, you know, you could actually make twice as much. You could easily double this recipe and it would give you plenty. I know some people like a little more dressing than others, so it would give you plenty. That way you'll have more than enough. There is the dressing on it right there. I'm just gonna give it a quick little mix up. Looks so good. Smells absolutely delicious. All right, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you really enjoyed the Napa cabbage salad. Thanks.